Halo. 15, Mac the Knife. 16-18, Goldie Mean. 206, Cece Ripjaw. Number 22, Tango de Muerte. 3008, Heavy Metal. Number 48, Micro Mahler. 73 BC, I Am Spazicus. Number 8, Hannah Cuffs. And then we have Team Captain, number 847, Hello Sailor. Number 9, Rita Slayworth. 900, El Machete. 987 is Splatter Alice. And then we have the one that is bit fandangled. Don't forget about D4, Magic Missile. You know you want to go on I-94 Detour. And don't forget to remember November 5, Scarlet Osneria. On our lovely bench, we have Abby Negative. We have Jules Denial. We have the wonderful Molly Tov. And don't forget to say congratulations on her engagement to Blanche Devereaux. We know who'll be wearing the booty shorts in that family. And here you have your Unholy Rollers!
And they'll be squaring off against defending 2012 champions, the Quad Squad. She's 18 feet long and strong. She's team captain, Alligator. It's 3 a.m. Do you know where your booty is? Booty Collins. Number TU58, she'll rock your boat. She's Dreamboat Fanny. Number 297, she's hazed and far from confused. She's hazed and contused. Number 30 year, you're gonna want a shot of her. It's Hopscotch. Number 08, she'll knock your boots off. She's Kit Shickers. Number 1904, she's slippery even when she's not wet. She's KY Julie. Number 69, she steals points like candy from a baby. Give it up for Little Misbehavin'. Number 1884, she's foxy. She's Roxy Moxie. She's a B-52 bombshell. See Sequin destroy her. Number 313, look out undead. We've released the Hound. She's Slayhound. Number 8 Mile, she skated all the way here from 8 Mile. She's Slim Skatey. Number M80, she'll thrill you, then she'll spill you. She's the Thrill Show. And skating with the Mad Rollin Dolls for the first time in Madison, please welcome our rookies. First up, we have number Oi. She'll get rid of you and she'll be glad you did. She's Gouda Riddance. Number 8 Piece, our very own secret recipe. She's Kentucky Fried Carnage. Number U812, she'll have you shaking in your bones. She's Lolo Bones. Number 409, the gates are open and she's chomping at the bit. It's She Biscuit. Running the bench tonight, we have Dame Judy Bench, Martial Law, Road to Hell, and General Chaos on the lightsaber. Your 2013 Quad Squad.
And in the vertically slimming black and white stripes are skating referees for tonight. The head ref is the Whistler. Inside pack ref shall be the legendary Gorham Reaver. Jam refs include Stabby McDudebro and Stark. The outside pack refs for tonight's contest, the first one are Bjorn and Irma. And Uno in point of fact. And we've got no ref fault because we don't need one. As far as the non-skating officials go, Sobi and Bentire are lineup of people. The scorekeepers are Gavno and Irene. Miz is running the scoreboard. Polly is penalty box 1. Squeaky is penalty box 2. The box manager is Show. The period timer is Newt. The gem timer is Zadork. The inside whiteboard person is Modus. The penalty trackers are Spanklin and Teener. And the wrangler is Thaco. Those are your non-skating officials. And by golly, I believe it is time. Folks, won't you rise, remove your hats, and join me for our national anthem as performed by devoid of his jungle band, Guitar Zan.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Guitar Zan. You sped that right along. The boat production staff loves that.
That was, of course, Madison's own David Landau. You can catch him this Monday night at the Glass Nickel Pizza on Atwood Avenue, a Mad Rollin Dahl sponsor.
And starting things off on the jammer line for the Unholy Rollers, wearing the red and black and gold. That is number 987, Splatter Alice?
And she'll be facing off against team captain Hazen Contused in this first jam.
If you're fond of three-digit numbers that end in 7, you will love this first jam. In case you did not pick up on the exciting data provided to you during our introduction, a jam lasts up to 2 minutes long, but can be called out by the lead jammer before that. And we've got a lead jammer, that is Hazen Contused for the Quad Squad, wearing the green and the the silver of super heroic majesty.
You saw Alice got pushed out bounds there in the outside turn on the second turn, and she committed a major track cut, and she's going to go to jammer jail for 1 minute, giving Hazen Contused a power jam situation.
It is absolutely devastating if you're a team and your jammer gets sent to the penalty box. That means you cannot score. We call that a power jam. That's going to lead to a second big 5 fingers in the sky for the Quad Squad. That is their second grand slam. 10-0 opened up early in this very first jam.
Now the Unholy Rollers have 2 players. Hello Sailor has joined Splatter Alice in jammer jail. So now Hazer is getting 2 points for those skaters, as well as 3 points for the 3 that are on the track. So even though she's only passing 3 skaters, she is getting 5 points for every lap.
We have now just seen Hazen Contused throw up 20 points in the space of 67 seconds without being touched more than once or twice. Alligator moving in to break up that wall. Unholy Rollers seeing that whole not touching thing is not so cool. That's another 5 in the sky. That is a 25-point jam and counting, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, strategically, that was a very good idea. By calling off the jam before the jammer for the Unholy Rollers got out of the penalty box, now that's going to give Roxy Moxie the chance to become lead jammer on this because she will be uncontested for the first several seconds.
I think that's what they call a fast start on behalf of the Quad Squad. 5 squared for the Quad Squad, 0 squared for the Unholy Rollers as we begin our second jam.
Something important to know is that the Mad Rolling Dolls is a 100% volunteer-powered organization. Everybody you see out here tonight is a volunteer. Today's bout in our 9th season couldn't be possible without our dedicated group of volunteers who bring it all together. A big thank you to our bout production couple, John and Jean Lane, who work with the staff here to get us into this facility at the Alliant Energy Center and make this all possible.
Roxy Moxie got through and scored 2 points before she called off that jam before Splatter Elves could put any points on the board for your Unholy Rollers.
Yeah, the good news for the Unholy Rollers is they got their jammer back on the track. The bad news is they are down by 27 points. That's 3 to the cubed. 3 cubed, I tell you, at the all-important 27 minutes and 23 second mark. On the jammer line for the Unholy Rollers, we have got number 13 in the red and the black and the gold. That's Twisted Halo. She looks like she's going up against number B52, Sequin Destroyer. And as if on cue, Sequin Destroyer is your lead jammer. Remember, any jammer can score points. You do not have to be lead jammer, but lead jammer allows you to do what she just did, calls it off. She scores 3 for the Quad Squad before the Unholy Rollers can score. Any Unholy Rollers still on the schneid, a 30-0 or score after 3 jams.
We see Splatter Alice wearing the star yet again for the Unholy Rollers as Little Miss Behaven is not in the star for the first time for her team this bout.
And once again, 4 jams, 4 lead jammer statuses for the Quad Squad. This one courtesy of 69, Little Misbehavin'. You will see Stabby McDoudrell making that XC thing with his hands. That means that the opposing jammer is out of the pack and on her scoring pass, but she is not lead jammer. Jam's going to be called after 4 more points for the Quad Squad. 34-0 is our score as we dip under the 26-minute mark of the first period of the first bout tonight.
As we line up for this next jam, don't forget we have a shout-out box with all points going to the donations going to the Innocence Project. With a $1 suggested donation, you can shout out, you can say hello to your favorite skater, you can encourage them on, you can egg on when you don't, you can welcome a Derby virgin to their first bout. Make us say all kinds of silly stuff.
And on and off that jammer line for the first time tonight for the Unholy Rollers, that is number 15 in the red and the gold and the black. That is Mac the Knife. And Mac the Knife, your lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers.
Now that is the first time this bout that the Unholy Rollers have gained lead jammer status. Let's see what they can do with it.
Meanwhile, Bootsy Collins on her scoring pass for the Quad Squad. And that is 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. Unholy Rollers on the board. Bad news is that those 4 points were matched by Bootsy Collins, making it net. And what you will see there is Alligator, the blocker with the tail, knocked out Mac the Knife. Mac the Knife cannot re-enter in front of Alligator because Alligator did not go out of bounds. Therefore, you see Alligator backing up. That forces Mac the Knife to back up. And that is going to allow Bootsy Collins to score points, even though she is not the lead jammer.
And Rita Slayworth being sent to the penalty box.
Rita Slayworth will find no place to sit. The Unholy Rollers are already occupying both seats in the jammer box. That is a grand slam for number 3 AM, Booty Collins of the Quad Squad. And Mac the Knife going to score, I believe that's 4 points, unless that thumb has been extended. That is going to get 8 points on the board for the Unholy Rollers, but 47 for the Quad Squad as we dip under the 24-minute mark. On the jammer line again for the Quad Squad, in the green and the silver, that's number 1884, Roxy Moxie. She is going up against, for the first time on the jammer line tonight, number 3008, Abby Metal for the Unholy Rollers.
Action's barely started, but don't forget to join us for the after party at the Paradise Lounge. They are a neighborhood bar downtown. Come enjoy great drinks and even better food.
I love great drinks.
Love even better drinks. And even better food.
None can argue with that. And we've got the pack slowing to a standstill. Meanwhile, Jam is being called off by the Quad Squad after 4 more points. 51-8 is our score. That's 3 times 17 versus 2 cubed at the 23-minute mark. So far, so good for the Quad Squad. Fighting evil. Back on the jammer line, 4-set Quad Squad in the green and the silver. That's number 297, Hazed and Contused. And as we started off, the first jam we have got for the Unholy Rollers, number 987, Splatter Alice in the red and the black. Lots of lateral movement in that pack, and no one can establish a clear beachhead. We've got the Quad Squad maintaining control of the front, but they cannot control number 987, Splatter Alice, lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. Quad Squad again maintaining control of the front of the pack. Unholy Rollers content to maintain control of the back. Referees are holding up fingers and pointing and whistling, and apparently 52-10 is our new score at the 22-minute mark of the first period. On that jammer line for the Quad Squad, enjoying a 42-point lead, we have got B-52, Sequin Destroyer. Whistler is calling for an official timeout. That's why he is touching his shoulder so frantically. When decorum is restored, I believe we're going to have number 16-18 for the Unholy Rollers on the jammer line. A skater so awesome, I have not written down her number.
Mad Rolling Dolls are big fans of Plan B, pretty much as big fans as Plan B is of them. That is Madison's favorite gay bar and dance club. Be out, be proud, just be. Another great sponsor of the Mad Rolling Dolls is Roman Candle Pizzeria. Roman Candle is a place where friends, family, and neighbors can gather for good times and even better pizza. And trust me, it's delicious. I eat there all the time. They even deliver, by the way.
And folks, remember, make sure your kids don't go running around up top there, because it has the potential to end like that Laurel and Hardy movie where they're piano movers and the piano keeps plummeting down. We realize your children are not pianos, but yet they probably cannot weather the storm of bonking down 40 steps very well. Kindly keep them on leashes. 53-10 is our score. Looks like that official timeout was adjusting the score 1 point to the Quad Squad's favor. We are going to have Goldie Mean, number 16-18. Of the Unholy Rollers on and off that jammer line for the Unholies.
And I've just been informed that timeout was just clarifying some scoring issues from the previous jam. It was all resolved amicably, and we're back under play with the Unholy Rollers lead jammer.
Unholy Rollers certainly need that. Right now you see the Quad Squad trying to form a big 3-wall in the back, and they do. Oh my goodness. Kit Snickers was not going to be moved, and as a result, number B-52 for the Quad Squad moves right around that mess of humanity. That is Sequin Destroyer. She somehow gets 4 points out of what looked like a certain point advantage for the Unholy Rollers, thanks to the staunch defense played by the Quad Squad.
And that's Kit's, I believe, second trip to the penalty box.
And here we see the Unholy Rollers trying to use their pack advantage to keep Sequin Destroyer back, but she is fighting through.
The rookie KFC is on the track for the first time. We've been waiting for this all season. She was waylaid for the first half after hitting someone else so hard she broke her own collarbone.
Egads. Do bear in mind, folks, that the lead jammer is the Unholy Rollers jammer, although the jammer in the lead is actually the Quad Squad jammer. Right now, the Unholy Rollers jammer is going to have to get through the pack and score her 4 points just to even up the scoring from the previous go-round. You will see Hopscotch trying to bridge. Once you get further than 20 feet away from the pack, you've got to let people go like they're an ambulance, so she's stretching out to make the pack extend. That's another 4 points for the Unholy Rollers, which is the good news. The bad news is that Goldie Mean is once again behind a big 3 wall of green and silver in the back of that pack. Sequin Destroyer with a real nice foot control manages to avoid a track cut. 2 more points for the Unholy Rollers, 4 more points for the Quad Squad. And our score, after however many jams that was, 65 for the Quad Squad, 20 for the Unholy Rollers at the all-important 19-minute and 39-second mark of the first period.
Roxy Moxie's wearing the star for the Quad Squad, and I've just been informed by the stats crew, her last time up, Roxy scored her 400th career point. Roxy Moxie setting another milestone for your Mad Rollin' Dolls, and she's your lead jammer!
And with the Unholy Rollers with 20 points, D4, Magic Missile hoping she can roll a few 20s here. Perhaps use something from the bag of holding in order to, and as the Quad Squad jammer gets deposited at turn 2, she's going to call that jam, but and there's going to be no scoring on the Unholy Rollers part. Well done by the Quad Squad jammer of a record. Who was Roxy Moxie? Quad Squad scored 3 on that. Unholy Rollers scored 0.
Little Misbehaven's going to be facing off against Rookie Fandangled.
We've got.
And you didn't need a microphone to hear that.
Got 68 to 20. That is Gail Gillingham's jersey number versus Barry Sanders' jersey number. And the eternal battle of the jersey numbers.
We have Fandangled. Bit is fighting her way through the pack. She is a rookie this year. Oh, and she's down on the outside. She's back up, though.
However, lead jammer around on the outside. Number 69 in the green and the silver. That is Misbehaven. Lil Misbehaven at that. Oh, and real nice positional blocking there by number 13 of the Unholy Rollers, Twisted Halo. She nudges Lil Misbehaven out just enough that she has decided she's going to call off that jam with nobody scoring any points. The status quo is maintained. On the jammer line for the first time tonight, that's number 30 year for the green and the silver of the Quad Squad. That is Hopscotch, and she is going up against, not for the first time tonight, number 15, Mac the Knife of the Unholy Rollers in the red and the gold and the black. And through heavy shrapnel and fighting, Mac the Knife is your lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. Hopscotch now breaks out of the pack. She is on her scoring pass. The bad news for the Quad Squad is that she is about a half a lap behind her opposite number. That is 4 points for Mac the Knife and the Unholy Rollers. And those 4 points are answered by the Quad Squad, courtesy of Hopscotch. The net point differential there is 0. That's going to be, I believe, 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers. This time, the jam's called off, so that's going to be a net gain of 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. Our new score, 72 to 28 in favor of the Quad Squad. Back on the general line for the Unholy Rollers, that is D4 Magic Missile. She is going up against number 1884 in the green and the silver. That's Roxy Moxie of the Quad Squad.
We have our first shout out of the night. Happy St. Urho Day to everyone here of Finnish descent. I had no idea it was Urho Day.
I don't know, but they got good pasties. Anyway, lead jammer is Unholy Rollers, a Magic Missile. If you're trying to pick up on the referee hand signals, you realize that when the ref is pointing at you and he's also got another hand in the air, it does not mean you are a loser. It means you are the winner. You are the lead jammer. And that is 5 in the sky. That's a grand slam for the Unholy Rollers, courtesy of Magic Missile. And both sides playing the stop and wait game. Looks like this is a power jam for the Unholy Rollers. Quad Squad's jammer in the penalty box. That means 60 seconds of unopposed scoring, and that's another grand slam for the Unholy Rollers. They are getting right back in this game, I tell you.
Now, something important to know is you can't actually play stop derby. You can only play slow derby. You have to be moving forward or moving your feet when you block the jammer.
Unholy Rollers have a big curtain of red at the back, and they move like a well-oiled shower curtain, allowing their jammer through. Gorham Reaver says no pack. She's out and about. That's another 5 in the sky. That's another grand slam for the Unholy Rollers. This jam will place them right back in there. We've got 72 to 48. Those are good numbers because they are numbers of crayons and Crayola boxes. Magic Missile pretty much doing all the work herself. And that is yet another 5 points for the Unholy Rollers. Hokey smokes, that's just the big jam they needed. Our new score, 72 to 53. Unholy Rollers within 19 points.
Now, if you'll notice, you have number 9, Rita Slayworth, up, blocking for the Unholy Rollers, and Bit Fang Dangled as your jammer. Rita was one of the original Mad Rollin dolls from 9 years ago, and Fang Dangled is a rookie, this being her first year. The Unholy Rollers is the only team in Madison to have a player representing each year of the league's existence on their roster.
Both those jammers fainted like they were going to cross over to the other side of the track, or they're going to hit each other, and then they both pulled back, and I don't know exactly what was going on there. It was choreographed like West Side Story. Once again, second jam in a row, lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers, and that is Fang Dangled.
But you can see that Hayes, and Confused, is not giving up. She has juked her way out of the pack.
It's still the best thing that we've done this season.
Now Fandangle has to get up against these blockers and get her way through too. Oh, but Hayes is catching up.
And that is a 4-point pass for the Unholy Rollers. And matched by a 4-point pass by the Quad Squad. Oh, my nice jump by Fang Dangle. That's going to be 4 unanswered points. That's going to cut 4 more points off that lead. I believe they are within 15. That is a 3-pass lead. Well, maybe not. Okay, 21. I was close. No, I was right. 17. Figures don't lie, but liars figure. Okay, 78 to 61. I lied. It's a 17-point lead. But I have 15 on the brain because on the jammer line for the Unholy Rollers, that's number 15, Mac the Knife. She is going up against number 1884 for the Quad Squad in the green and the silver. And that is Roxy Moxie. Roxy Moxie with a real nice inside move. She is your lead jammer for the Quad Squad. Quad Squad looking to quell this upstart rebellion from the Unholy Rollers. Both skaters on their scoring pass. Roxy Moxie's going to call that jam from her knees on turn 3. No one's going to score any points. The status quo is maintained. 17-point lead remains in place for the Quad Squad.
That's one of the things that makes Derby so interesting. You can get a 30-point lead in one jam, or you can get 0 points. It all depends on what you do in the jam.
Well, with Quad Squad starting this next jam with 2 of its blockers in the penalty box, it's going to give the Unholy Rollers an opportunity to catch up. And if you need to catch up, you want to have Magic Missile on the line for a critical hit.
Blocker of the penalty box is not as devastating. Oh, well, speak of the devil. D4, Magic Missile is your lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. I was going to say that having a blocker in the penalty box is not as devastating as having your jammer in the penalty box, but then again, it ain't that cool either. Both jammers on their scoring pass and 4-point pass for Magic Missile. Nice positional defense being played by the Unholy Rollers. However, Hazen Contused gets away. She is through the pack. I believe she scored 4 points of her own. Yes, she has. Magic Missile on her second scoring pass. I believe she has picked up 4 points. She's going to call it. That should cut 4 more points off the lead for the Unholy Rollers. I think we have got, speaking of Unholy, a 13-point lead for the Quad Squad.
Team rookie Fang Dangled wearing the star. Every time she's been on the track, she has become your lead jammer tonight. Let's see if she can make it a lucky number 4. She's going up against Thrill Show, so she's going to have her work cut out for her.
I don't believe we have seen Thrill Show on the jammer line yet tonight for the Quad Squad.
We have not.
And she takes a bit of a bump from Fang Dangled. And she takes quite a bump from Splatter Alice, I believe. Oh, and she takes a third and decisive bump from Hello Sailor. That's going to send her into the infield. She's going to have to get back at the back of the pack. Lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. That is Fang Dangled.
But
Thrill Show somehow, somehow survived. Oh my goodness. We might be seeing a penalty called in that situation. That is a back block being assessed to the Unholy Rollers.
Oh, and those back blocks
Fandangle
are
being
so
sent to-
rude. Just like rude chicks t-shirts for cool chicks and babies with attitude. We like roller derby and we like them.
Now it looked like Fandangle was sent to the penalty box for back blocking after the whistle. So that's going to give Booty Collins an uncontested power jam for 1 minute.
Really looked like the Unholy Rollers were going to really make some inroads into that lead. Very unfortunately timed power jam and or back block and penalty on the Unholy Rollers. Anyway, be that as it may, that was then, this is now. Action is all at turn 2, which is the action that your intrepid announcer crew can see the least of. Hello Sailor going to be joining the Unholy Rollers jammer in the penalty box. Booty Collins is got free range. She's out, she's through, she's lead jammer for the quad squad. Only
for the
2
quad
blockers
squad.
on the track for the Unholy Rollers. What that means is when Booty Collins passes those 2 blockers, she's going to get 5 points. That is the world's easiest Grand Slam. 5 points for the quad squad, and she's looking for 5 more. She gets Ghost Man points as soon as she passes the first defender, but she gets all 5 when she passes that last defender. 2 Grand Slams, 10-point jam for the quad squad. They are bulging their lead back out. 69-96 palindrome score. Everybody drink.
Now Fandangle has not made her initial pass yet, so she is not scoring points yet. She needs to get through the pack and around the track and come through them again before she can... Oh! And she's going back to the penalty box for tripping.
Unholy Rollers absolutely positively cannot keep out of the penalty box. That was a low block being assessed on Fangdangler.
I apologize, not tripping, low blocking.
One of the things they teach in roller derby is to fall small, and if you don't, you get called on the low block.
Booty Collins going to continue her power jam. Remember, she's going to pick up a point for the players in Jammer Jail every time she goes around the track. She's calling it off before Fandangle finishes her time, giving Roxy Moxie another power jam situation.
Yeah, that went from about a 13-point lead to a 35-point lead in a trice. In a trice, I tell you. And it is still a power jam for the quad squad. The Unholy Rollers blocker still serving the remainder of that penalty. Only jammer on the track is wearing green and silver. That is 1884. That is Roxy Moxie of the quad squad.
This is a golden opportunity if she can get through and get that lead jammer stainless cleanly. There we go. You can only get points if you get through the pack clean without getting any penalties or back blocks or anything like that.
And around and through. That is a grand slam for the quad squad, picking up where they left off in the last jam. They have now pushed things back out to a 40-point lead.
We have the Unholy Rollers jammer up and waiting to get back into the action.
Fandangle seemed like she spent an awfully long time in the penalty box. I am not sure she didn't get 2 penalties on that last go-around.
Well, she's fighting for it now. She wants to get through. But it was called.
The quad squad has ripped this open from a 13-point lead to a 45-point lead in only 2 jams. That's how fast you can get points in roller derby. That's why even if the score is a 20-point difference, we do say it's still anybody's game because things can change quickly. We would also like to invite anyone interested in the steampunk contest to please make their way to the merchandise table during halftime of this bout, which is in about 6 minutes. Anyone interested in the steampunk costume contest, please come to the merch table during halftime.
What has not changed is the jammer lineup. This is the same jammer lineup with which we started the game. That means number 987 Splatterellis for the Unholy Rollers, who is lead jammer, by the way, going up against number 297 in the green and the silver, hazed and contused. She is now on her scoring pass, but she is about half a celestial rotation behind her opposite number on the Unholy Rollers. Hey, Splatterellis out through, gets 4 on it. Oh my goodness. 4 points also picked up by hazed and contused. A net aggregate lead adjustment of nothing. Each side scores 4 points. 121, that's 11 squared for the Quad Squad. 73, I don't know what that is, but that's for the Unholy Rollers.
Talking about green power, don't forget to check out one of our sponsors, the Shamrock Bar, 117 West Main in downtown Madison. They're a longtime Derby sponsor and host of some of our after parties.
Thank you, Zoe. Now we got Sequin Destroyer and breaking through the pack against Mac the Knife, and she is your lead jammer for the Quad Squad.
We did have an illegal procedure being signaled early on in that jam, but I don't know what became of it. Looks like perhaps the pivot for the Unholy Rollers is suffering the brunt of that. Both jammers on their scoring pass, however, it is Sequin Destroyer scoring 3 points, calling it off before the Unholy Rollers can answer. That's going to make it 124 to 73. That's a 51-point lead with just over 4.25 minutes to go in the first half. Back on the jammer line for the Quad Squad, who are wearing green and silver. That's 1884 Roxy Moxie. She's going up against number 13. That's Twisted Halo of the Unholy Rollers.
Don't forget the shout-out box at the merchandise table. For only $1, you can put in a shout-out, and we'll read it over these here microphones. All proceeds from the shout-out box go to the Wisconsin Law School's Innocence Project. It's an important cause. We'd encourage you to think of something you want to make us say.
And the lead jammer, number 13, the Unholy Rollers, is own a Twisted Halo. She is out, she's through, she's scored a couple points. Gives the signal to call it off after scoring her 4 points. Quad Squad reciprocate with 2 points. The good news for the Unholy Rollers is they cut 2 points off the lead. The bad news is it's still 49, which is 7 squared. Just over 3 minutes to go. 126 to 77 over score. Back on that jammer line for the Quad Squad. Number 69, Little Misbehavin' in the green and the silver. She's going up against number 987. Once again for the Unholy Rollers, that's Splatter Alice.
Both jockeying for a position. Roxy Moxie's first one through. She's Little Misbehavin', your lead jammer.
Little Misbehavin' got nudged out very nicely by number 3008 of the Unholy Rollers. That is Heavy Metal. That's going to force her to call that jam off prematurely. Nobody scores any points. Just over 2 minutes to go. Score remains 126 to 77. 49-point lead for the Quad Squad. Back on that jammer line for said Quad Squad, that is B52 Sequin Destroyer in the green and the silver. She is going up against number 15 in the red and the gold and the black. That's Mac the Knife for the Unholy Rollers.
Don't forget, Steampunks, come on down to the merch table during halftime to enter the contest. We have swell prizes for you.
And at the beginning of that jam, you got to see some jammer on jammer action. They were blocking each other, which they can do. One thing to know about jammers is they can hit each other anywhere on the track.
Mac the Knife lead jammer. Nice apex jump there. Hops in through, gets her 4 points.
Anyone that's practiced jumping the apex knows how hard that is.
Those 4 points on that initial pass by Mac the Knife were reciprocated by the Quad Squad. Now she is back through. She's got a second 4 points, making this an 8-4 score thus far.
Still a 45-point game, just like it was 5 jams ago. They're kind of matching each other point for point at this juncture. Now there is less than a minute left on the halftime clock, but the jam clock does supersede the halftime clock, so this still could go the full 2 minutes of the jam.
Yeah, we had a 12-8 jam there in favor of the Unholy Rollers, which is pretty much the same thing as getting a 4-0 jam. So it was a lot of hard work for 4 points. 134-89 is our score. 45 points is our lead. We are dipping under a half a minute. This is going to be the last jam of the first half unless something ridiculous happens. I believe we've got number 1884, Roxy Moxie in the green and on and off that jammer line for the Quad Squad, going up against number 3008 Heavy Metal of the Unholy Rollers, who is trapped behind a wall of Quad Squad green. Lead jammer for the Quad Squad, that is Roxy Moxie.
And she's closing back on the back of the pack pretty fast. Oh, and she just shoots right through. Heavy Metal gets through the pack. She's not lead jammer, but she is about to get there and do her first scoring pass. Oh, but Roxy calls it off.
And folks, it is halftime, but even though it's halftime, please do not run in the areas where the referees go. Leave those for the refs between the red and the blue. That is sacred turf. Please don't go running through between the red and the blue. Stay behind the blue, or we'll come and get you and we'll have General Chaos thwack you with his sawed-off lightsaber.
And now, on with the show.
All right, the second half of that game between the Unholy Rollers and Quad Squad is commencing so swiftly, I didn't even have time to finish my cough drop. Please deal with my substandard enunciation as I inform you that starting things off on the jammer line for the Quad Squad in the green and the silver is number 1884, Roxy Moxie. The Quad Squad are enjoying a 54-point lead, but the Unholy Rollers will be sending number 987, Splatter Alice, to the jammer line. They're wearing red and black, which is curiously just like they were wearing in the first half of the game. And they're off. This cough drop tastes great. Hey, and first lead jammer of the second period goes to the Unholy Rollers, courtesy of Splatter Alice. And first penalty of the second period also goes to the Unholy Rollers, courtesy of Hannah Cuffs. Oh, however, we got our first power jam of the second period. Roxy Moxie heading to the penalty box for a back block. That is a power jam situation for the Unholy Rollers.
And it's sorely needed at this point in the game.
You'll see that Whistler had his arms extended. He was not trying to dance like Frankenstein. He is saying the pack is here, get to where I'm pointing, or you're a bunch of jerks. In so many words. Around and through, that is a grand slam for the Unholy Rollers.
She zips around the outside, putting another 5 points on the board for your Unholy Rollers.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody had as good an angle as we had here, Jack, but she went around just with centimeters to spare. Real nice work by number 987, Splatter Alice of the Unholy Rollers. Picks up another grand slam, I tell you. This is exactly how one would imagine the Unholy Rollers would want to start out the second period. She has got a 2-wall in front, but they are out of play. They're going to have to let her go like she's an ambulance. And that is going to be an out-of-play penalty on, I believe that's hopscotch. Things rolling the Unholy Rollers' way right now. And it's a penalty on Sequin Destroyer. Hopscotch can't even get to the penalty box. She is getting waved off. There is no room at the end. She's going to have to skate around until a seat opens up for her. Meanwhile, both teams trade a 4-point jam as the jammer for the Quad Squad was released, but the damage is done. Hokey smokes Bullwinkle. If the score can be believed, and why couldn't it be? It is now just a 23-point game again, 25-point game again.
It's too bad they called that jam because 4-1 is just how Allie likes it. She could have blocked them. Come on.
25-point lead for the Unholy Rollers. You can make that up in one good jam in 120 seconds if the Derby gods are smiling on you. And speaking of Derby gods, on and off that jammer line, it is number 15, Mac the Knife for the Unholy Rollers. She is going up against number 297, Hazen Contused. Hazen Contused snipped by on the inside. Hazen Contused, your lead jammer for the Quad Squad. Hazen Contused tries to get by on the outside this time, but she gets a nice hip. That's going to send her backwards. Mac the Knife's going to get through and get her 4 points. Got a back block being assessed to somebody's person. Oh my goodness! Back block on Hazen Contused. Power jam for the Unholy Rollers. 2 jams, 2 power jams for the Unholies. They've obviously, sacrificed whatever goats or chickens they needed to do in the halftime dressing room. Things spinning their way. Mac the Knife being beleaguered on that outside edge. A little game of chase and fetch with 69, a little misbehaving. Knocks her out of bounds, gets back. Well played, cat and mouse, grand slam, Unholy Rollers.
52 seconds.
Mac the Knife had one to beat, stepped. Oh, she's good. Yes, that's another grand slam. Hokies, look at that scoreboard, I tell ya. That scoreboard is awfully close. It's time for rejoicing and random noises, and the crowd goes wild and all that type of thing.
One more pass. A 1 point game. As soon as Mac passes one quad squatter, we're going to have a tie. As soon as passes 2, we got a lead change.
And we have got Magic Missile taking a seat in the penalty box. That's a grand slam for the Unholy Rollers. That's a 4-point pass for the Quad Squad. I think we got a tie game.
Yeah, and just like that, it ties up. You never know what's going to happen at roller derby.
For some reason, I want to drink 2 shots of Bacardi right now. 151 to 151. I said it is a tie game.
And the crowd am loving it. Twisted Halo facing off against Sequin Destroyer, and a timeout.
What a first 5 minutes of the second half for the Unholy Rollers. What do you got for us?
I have got another sponsor, the Shoe Box. Who doesn't like shoes? Who doesn't wear shoes? I guess nudists, but everybody else needs to go to Black Earth, Wisconsin. It's one of the largest independent shoe stores in the U.S., representing over 100 shoe companies. They specialize in service, size, selection, and price and fit. Plan to grab a quick bite of rookies while you're out there. Service like it ought to be, theshoebox.com.
I've got a shout out. It's a thank you to Mustang for being the best mom a kid could have. From the boys, Laurie, Shannon, and Jordan. Good work, Mustang.
And if those are your kids sitting in the top row, right about where it says 303, please run and fetch them. Children are not allowed unaccompanied in the upper rows. Gravity is a harsh mistress.
And we're going to start off this jam with number 13, Twisted Halo for the Unholy Rollers in the red and the gold and the black. She's being nudged by Sequin Destroyer, the jammer for the Quad Squad in the green and the silver. Sequin Destroyer in on the inside. Sequin Destroyer, lead jammer for the Quad Squad. Got a shout out reminding you to be loud. Happy birthday to Recondile 151, Roller, Flux Capacitor. Happy birthday, Kelly.
Happy birthday, Kelly. Oh, looks like the Quad Squad is trying to get back on top, but the Unholy Rollers are fighting just as hard to keep that tie or get it themselves. Oh, and she calls off the jam.
Got 4 fingers being held up for the Quad Squad, 3 fingers being held up for the Unholy Rollers.
Looks like this is going to be a fight to the finish.
And looks like it's going to be a 1-point lead for the Quad Squad. Speaking of Quad Squad, they will be sending number 297, Hazen Contused, to the jammer line into the green and the silver. She's going up against number 987, that's Splatter Alice for the Unholy Rollers, who are wearing red and black. In case you have been outside for the duration of the entire game and don't realize that yet.
Yeah, if the lineup looks a little funny, it's because we got
Going into the first
players
turn,
from both
Hazen
teams.
Contused takes lead jammer by passing everyone else on the inside. Splatter Alice is hot on her trail. The 1-point game, let's see if they can tear this up. And it stays a 1-point game. No, it does not. It is now a 3-point game, 4-point game. 154 to 158 in favor of your quad squad.
And we've got a shout out for Hello Sailor. Remember, I'm the dancer in the family. Love your sis. However, she's obviously not the speller in the family. She spelled sailor incorrectly. That's all right. It's good to specialize these days. If you dance, you probably don't need to spell well. On that jammer line, and now off of it, we've got number 15, Mac the Knife for the Unholy Rollers. She's going up against number 1884 in the green and the silver of the quad squad. And by golly, I'd like to think that's Roxy Moxie. If not, I've been lying all this way. Speaking of Roxy Moxie, she's got one to beat. She's through. Lead jammer quad squad, Roxy Moxie. Nice big wall of Unholy Red up in front. That is going to clog things up like a week's worth of cheese. 2 points for the quad squad, 0 points for the Unholy Rollers. 6-point lead, 160 to 54. Our score at the all-important 22-minute and 30-second mark of the second period.
And sometimes that's the best strategy, taking a couple of points and taking them away from the other team.
On the jammer line for the quad squad, that's number 3 AM Bootsy Collins. She is going up against number 3008 for the Unholy Rollers, and that's heavy metal. With a very metallic, what would you call that, a skirt? I don't even know what that is, but it's metallic, I tell you, and obviously probably very heavy, or heavy.
Booty's got both Splatter, Alice, and Hello Sailor on her. Oh! And she's got past. Now she's just up against Micro Mauler. But Micro has to let her go.
Unholy Rollers do have a 1 blocker advantage in the pack. She's got Alligator to beat, and she gets around, gets her 4 points, calls it off. Let's see if Bootsy Collins obtained any points. She's getting 1 point for the quad squad. So that's going to be 3 points lopped off that lead, 161 to 158. 3-point game. 1 field goal separates the teams. Back on the jammer line for the Unholy Rollers, number 13 in the red and the black. That is Twisted Halo, and she's going up against number 1884, Roxy Moxie in the green and the silver. Happy birthday to James Madison, father of the U.S. Constitution. Also, our shortest president. And the crowd goes wild.
I thought that was William Henry Harrison.
I don't know. I got to line him up then. I think Harrison was lying about his side. Anyway, lead jammer goes to the Unholy Rollers and Twisted Halo. She is very closely trailed by number 1884 for the quad squad.
And they both hit the back about the same time, but Halo got out. Oh, except for there was a cut, and she has to go to the penalty box. Now Roxy has a chance to make up some points.
If you have got a car with the license plate number 983FUH, your lights are on. Go shut them off. 983FUH. You're going to be saying a lot of FUH type words once you get to your car and find your battery's dead, so please go out to your car and fix that situation. Also, you're keeping the neighbors up. That is a back block. That is going to send the quad squad jammer to the penalty box. That is going to spring the Unholy Rollers jammer. Suddenly, the power jam shoe is on the other foot.
But the power jam will only last for the same amount of time that the Unholy Rollers jammer was in jammer jail. And then it'll be back to jammer on jammer action.
And that is a grand slam for the Unholy Rollers. That is going to make it a 3-point game once again. And that can all change on this particular rotation. Quad squad do the best they can with that 2 all up in front. She breaks free. That's a grand slam. I believe we have ourselves a lead change.
For the first time this bout, the Unholy Rollers 168, quad squad 166. Now, since both of the jammers were in the penalty box, there is no lead jammer. This will go for the full jam clock.
And Roxy Moxie deposited in the infield between turns 3 and 4. The referees are playing Love Gun by Kiss on their whistles. 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers, 5 more points for the quad squad. I'm doing math in my head, which is always dangerous.
It's looked like this is going
Is
to be
that
a
the
close
score?
game the whole way through. Makes it more interesting, I think.
I guess 177 to 171 is our apparent score. 6-point lead for the Unholy Rollers.
This timeout has been brought to you by Super Duper. We offer digital offset letterpress and hand silkscreen printing, and we specialize in CD and DVD packaging and manufacturing. Super Duper, a proud sponsor of your Mad Rollin' Dolls.
And Unholy Rollers sent to number 1618, Goldie Mean, to the jammer line. And Goldie, speak of the devil, Goldie Mean, your lead jammer, Unholy Rollers. Meanwhile, her opposite number is number 297, Hazen Contuz, who's been jamming an awful lot for the Quad Squad. She is about 1/3 of a rotation of the Earth's solar system behind Goldie Mean. Let's see how this one plays out. Goldie Mean is going to get a little panicky. She's going to call it off, but not before scoring 2 points. Nice jam for Goldie Mean and the Unholy Rollers. They bulge their lead up to 8 points. Their largest lead of the game, I believe.
Yes.
Got a shout out to Rhoda Hell. Rhoda, you're a great player and a great coach. We know you'll help take the Quad Squad above and beyond.
And we thank you for these shout-outs. Each shout-out helps the Madison, Wisconsin Innocence Project. Please keep them coming. It's a very worthy cause.
And on and off that jammer line, it is B-52, Sequin Destroyer for the Quad Squad, who is now deposited on the infield at turn 1. She's going up against number D4, Magic Missile for the Unholy Rollers. A penalty was assessed, I believe, on that hit to the pivot of the Unholy Rollers, but what's done is done. Lil misbehaving is clogging things up. Sequin Destroyer recovers from that hit. She is your lead jammer for the Quad Squad. So Sequin Destroyer able to draw a major penalty on the blocker for the Unholy Rollers, who smacked her down, but she was also able to escape with the lead jammer. And once again, she is dumped on turn 1. And once again, the initiator of the block is going to be taking a seat in the penalty box. This time it's Hello Sailor. It's going to be 4 more points for the Quad Squad, and it's going to be 180 to 175, or maybe it didn't. It's going to be something pretty darn close to that, I tell you.
Still a 5-point game. That's 1 grand slam away from a tie. 1 grand slam and 1 jammer away from a lead change. As Twisted Halo faces off against Roxy Moxie.
We've got a shout out to Girl Scout Troop number 2254. Don't try to sell me cookies. I bought a box yesterday at Family Video.
Unholy Rollers, Twisted Halo is your lead jammer.
Quad Squad with a blocker in the penalty box, but they still have a 1 blocker advantage. Unholy Rollers have 2 blockers in the box.
Goose eggs, no points for either team on that last pass.
Still over half a period to go. Jodies, you are no longer Derby virgins. So congratulations. I don't know if you want to go outside and smoke after that or what. And we have a timeout being assessed to the officials.
And I've been updated by our stats crew. Mac the Knife of the Unholy Rollers, you just scored your 500th career point as a Mad Rollin' Doll. 500 points for your Unholy Rollers, Mac the Knife.
If that was a Monopoly bill, it would be the highest one you can get. I also got a shout out to Greg from Sarah. He says, I can't imagine anyone else. Let's take off my booty shorts.
While we're having our timeout, it's important to thank our volunteers again. In the box office, our Boxy the Box officer, Madam Knockabout, and Jules Lee Blonde. At the will call table is MRD's ticket manager, Mass Myrtle, assisted today by, I guess, herself. And of course, taking your tickets at the front are the brothers Scott and Brad Merrick.
Wearing the star on this next jam for the Unholy Rollers is Goldie Mean. This is her 400th career jam as an Unholy Roller.
That's more jam than Smuckers. I've got a shout out that is stating, you're looking steampunk-erific, Nicole. Have a fab birthday this week. Love, Wonder Woman. I've also got a shout out that says Alexa and Piper rock. Piper must be a person, not that band Billy Squire was in the 1970s. But yes, Alexa and Piper, you rock. Keep up the good work. Speaking of keeping up the good work, back on that jammer line for the Unholy Rollers is number 1618 in the red and the gold and the black. That's Goldie Mean. She is going up against number 69, Lil Misbehavin' in the green and the silver. And the wave. She waved to us. She waved to us again.
You're wearing green. She likes you. You're the tallest leprechaun here.
She likes my hat. My hat matches the Quad Squad's uniforms. Anyway, looks like 180 to 175. 5-point game. That is a one-pass game. Unholy Rollers seemingly dead and buried, which of course is not an uncommon position, I guess, if you're unholy and undead and all that kind of stuff. But they've stormed back to take a 5-point lead, I tell you.
Well, if he's the largest leprechaun, then who's going to take him for his gold? You know, I'm saying halftime, somebody come and get him, beat him up a little bit, make some money.
I've already seen that in the second episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. But whatever you do, just don't be after me, Lucky Charms. That's all I ask of you.
Well, if they're trying to take
And
him
we're
away from you all the
dangerously
time,
close
they're
to a
not that
dance
lucky.
party starting on the jammer, breaking out on the jammer line here.
All right, decorum is established. 15:22 to go in the ball game. 5-point lead for the Unholy Rollers. Lil Misbehavin', nice dash around the outside. Meanwhile,
Slayhound, Slim Skady, and Alligator are holding Goldie Mean at the back of the pack, while Little Misbehavin' breaks through to become your lead jammer.
Quad Squad providing excellent defense at the back of that pack, but Mac the Knife trying to take a seat in the penalty box. No room for her. She's got to skate around and wait for something. Grand slam for the Quad Squad as Alligator upset. Quad Squad takes a seat. Both teams down 2 blockers. And will be down 2 blockers for a while because the Unholy Rollers had a waiting list at the penalty box. Little Misbehavin's going to get in the midst of a 2-wall, and she's going to call it off after scoring 3 more points for the Quad Squad. Quad Squad takes the lead. It's a lead change somewhere in there.
Halfway through the second half of this first bout, and it's a nail-biter back and forth between these two teams. See Magic Missile wearing the star for the Unholy Rollers, and it looks like Roxy Moxie's going to be making a return to the jammer line.
Roxy Moxie and Little Misbehavin' have been doing very yeoman-like jammer work. They've been jamming all the time, and around on the inside for the Quad Squad. It is, in fact, Roxy Moxie being tailed by her opposite number on the Unholy Rollers D4 Magic Missile. Let us see how this plays out in the grand strategic banquet that is roller derby. Whoa, 4 points for Magic Missile, 0 points for the Quad Squad. How the heck did that happen? That's a lead change. I didn't see that coming. That's the 4-finger surprise is what that is.
We have former team captain Twisted Halo facing off against current team captain Hazed and Contused.
This is how it's going to play out the whole game, it seems like. They're just going to go back and forth fighting for that lead.
It's a wild world, I tell you. Good thing we don't drink on lead changes. We'd be schnockered, and it's not even St. Patrick's Day yet. Hazed and Contused on and off the jammer line, goes around on the outside, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. She's lead jammer for the Quad Squad, who trail by 1 slim point. She is being tailed by number 13. That's Twisted Halo of the Unholy Rollers. Meanwhile, another Unholy Roller skates to the penalty box.
But there's no room at the end. She's going to have to be put in a holding pattern until she can take a seat.
Unholy Rollers have had a waiting list for the penalty box as Quad Squad puts up 4 to the Unholy Rollers 3. Is that another tie game? Sure is. 187 to 187. If only we could get that score sponsored by those 187 pads, people.
And Reverend Norb, your biggest fan, Little Misbehavin', is back on the jammer line, facing off against the rookie Fang Dangled.
I do not remember the last time the Unholy Rollers did not have a waiting list at the penalty box, but it's been a few jams now.
Little Miss takes lead jammer status going into that first turn.
Meanwhile, Quad Squad playing good defense up front. They are harassing and haranguing Fang Dangled, who is Appearances to the contrary, she is not ahead of the Quad Squad Jammer. She is behind. Lil Misbehavin' calls it off. That is going to be 4 points for the Quad Squad, 0 points for the Unholy Rollers. Quad Squad moves into a 4-point lead, 191 to 187.
And we have Hazen Contus facing off against D4 Magic Missile. With Secret Destroyer, Alligator, and Hopscotch blocking for your Quad Squad, and Goldie Mean and Twisted Halo blocking for the Unholy Rollers, with 2 blockers in the Unholy Roller penalty box.
And Twisted Halo with some real nice defense on Hazen Contus. That's going to allow the Unholy Rollers to say Magic Missile, lead jammer. Big wall of green up in front, but there's no pack. They are out of play. They've got to let Magic Missile go. She's going to call it off, but oh, not before. Hazen Contus gets 4 points back for the Quad Squad. Another 4-finger surprise. No one gains or loses any lead points. Still a 4-point lead with 195 to 191 for the for the Quad Squad. Looks like we'll have Roxy Moxie, number 1884, in the green and the silver of the Quad Squad, going up against Mac of the Knife, number 15, in the red and the gold and the black of the Unholy Rollers. And Hazen Contus is your lead jammer for the Quad Squad. Oh, I beg your pardon. 1884 is Roxy Moxie. I beg my pardon.
It's okay, they're brunettes, they're tall, they're dressed in green.
See, I'm so worried about calling Roxy Moxie Roxia of the Paper Valley Roller Girls up in Appleton that I just shut off the part of my brain that actually identifies her properly.
So you're just calling her something else completely.
Exactly, that keeps me out of that pitfall.
That's a good solution, I like that.
I really think you'd be more concerned about Kit Schickers at this point.
I'm just going to call her KS.
And we have Secret Destroyer, her bursting through the pack, sig lead jammer status coming out of that first turn.
Pack coming to an almost dead stop at turn 2 for a while. They have now picked it back up. Quad Squad on their scoring pass. And Secret Destroyer calls it off. I think she actually had a jammer lap point in her sights, calls it off before she gets to that one. 4 points for the Quad Squad. They are going to push that lead out to 199 to 193. 6-point lead as we dip under the 9-minute mark. Lil Misbehavin' shall take the jammer line for the Quad Squad. She's wearing green. She is wearing number 69.
And number D4, the Unholy Rollers Magic Missile, who just scored her 300th career point on that last jam. Another milestone for your Unholy Rollers, 300 points for Magic Missile.
A veritable perfect game in a bowling context. And lead jammer goes to a Magic Missile. We'd seen it was neck and neck. Both the jam refs kind of looking at figuring out what happens. The jammer who happened to be the second out of the pack was actually the lead jammer. The first out of the pack, but appearing to our naked eye to be the second out of the pack. Anyway, she calls it, realizing that she does not have an advantageous position. Looks like it's 203 to 193.
Looking at the charter for the score, it's going to just be blank 03 because they break that 200 mark and it's got to move over to our smaller but specific scoreboard.
Well, it's a good thing that scoreboard didn't have to be involved in celebrating the bicentennial.
I'm just looking forward to both of them breaking the scoreboard and them both having over 200. Let's see if they can do it.
Anyway, we have got...
This may well be the furthest we've gotten without a lead jammer, but Splatterellis is your lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers.
Shrimp Trampy was really beating the heck out of that Quad Squad jammer. That allowed Unholy Rollers to get lead jammer. Let us see what Splatterellis can do with it. She sails through the pack and calls it off, and that's 3 points for the Quad Squad, but none for the Unholy Rollers. Perv.
Now it's unlucky 13 going the other way for your Unholy Rollers.
I could not follow the scoring. It was over on turn 2, and I'm mystified, but it appears to be 206 to 193, 13-point lead, I tell you.
We've got Roxy Moxie and Mac the Knife back at it again against each other. Let's see what happens. Roxy Moxie's pushing through, so is Mac the Knife. Let's see, who's gonna get out first and become lead jammer? Oh, and it's Roxy Moxie. She got through the pack nice and clean, and she's lead jammer. But Mac the Knife is on her tail.
Don't forget, after the bout, you can come to our after party and party with the dolls. We're doing a bar crawl moving from the Paradise Lounge, the Frequency, and the Shamrock Bar, all located on West Main Street, just off the Capitol Square.
The Unholy Rollers have called a timeout.
And I believe that is the first non-official timeout we have seen this game, although, in point of fact, that scoreboard bears me out. The way roller derby works with the timeout thing is you get 3 timeouts, they gotta last you all game.
While we're waiting, we'll talk about another one of our sponsors, Tex Tubbs, a Feed the Doll sponsor. Tex Tubbs Taco Palace, 2009 Atwood Avenue. Tacos, tequila, and fun.
And it looks like the Unholy Rollers will be sending number 3008 Heavy Metal to the jammer line, as she will be opposing number 297 Hazen Contused of the Quad Squad.
You know, when we're talking about sponsors again, oh, never mind, the action is about to start. All eyes on the rink.
Number 18 feet, Alligator. This is her 500th jam in any position as a Mad Rollin' doll. 500 jams for the Quad Squad's Alligator.
Some people wear tinfoil hats. Hazen Contused wearing some sort of tinfoil-y looking apparatus on her knee, but it must be obviously assisting in her excellence, because lead jammer does go to the Quad Squad courtesy of Hazen Contused. We've got an out-of-play penalty being assessed. I am unsure on who. We got a multiplayer block being assessed. We might have a mass exodus to the penalty box. That's a grand slam, if Stabby's fingers can be believed, for the Quad Squad. And we have 2 visitees to the penalty box for the Unholy Rollers. Suddenly the Quad Squad look like they have stolen the momentum. Speaking of momentum, the momentum is driven down by Mac the Knife. Hazen Contused picks herself up. She goes back in the ring to take another swing. Mac the Knife looks like she is being sent to the penalty box on that one, but is going to have to take a number. And 4 more points for the Quad Squad.
Don't forget, you can flip us the bird and tweet your questions to @AskMRD. We had a question about tonight's attendance by Douglas Ratcliffe. The unofficial tally as we speak is 1,619 people at tonight's bout. Hazen Contused burst through for another 5-point grand slam.
Heavy Metal absolutely bottled up by that Quad Squad wall of green in the rear of that pack. Oh, Hazen Contused darting around. This might just be the jam that salts it away for the Quad Squad.
Yep, Heavy Metal is fighting all she can, but that Quad Squad wall is just blocking her.
Unholy Rollers can't keep out of the penalty box. They are looking around for stuff to do, trying to figure out who's in and who's out. Got an illegal procedure being called.
And I've just been informed by the stats crew, not only is this Alligator's 500th jam, it's also the Thrill Show's 300th jam in any position. It's been a night of milestones for the Unholy Rollers and the Quad Squad.
And I believe we saw an illegal star pass there. If you are the jammer and you are having a dickens of a time getting through the pack, you can take the star covering off your head and give it to your pivot, to the people with the stripes on their head. However, I'm not so sure that the pivot can take the star cover off the jammer's head, which is exactly what happened.
I think that's what the referees are talking about. I know I've never seen it, but who knows? They're going to decide right now.
Looks like an illegal star pass, because the Unholy Rollers are in fact sending a jammer to the jammer line, or at least they're tending to. That's D4 Magic Missile. If the star pass was a valid star pass, which would transfer the star from the jammer to the pivot, you wouldn't have a jammer on the jammer line. You would have Seabiscuit number 409 jamming on the jammer line by herself for the quad squad. And that is the first time we have seen Giddy Up 409 Seabiscuit around on the inside. Lead jammer quad squad, Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit just broke away from the pack. Here she comes up
Reminding me
here.
of my favorite Beach Boys B-side of Surfin' Safari.
Seabiscuit makes the most of her first time jamming as a quad squatter, putting up 4 points. And I have a shout out. Love art? Come see Mouse and Lip Smacker at the poster table. All sales benefit the Dairyland Dolls and Team Unicorns Travel Fund.
On the jammer line with just over 3 minutes to go. Hoping to take this one into the sunset for the quad squad. It's number B52, Sequin Destroyer. She is bumping up against and now out and free from number 987. That is the lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers, Splatter Ellis. Do not be confused. Splatter Alice is well behind her opposite number, but she is lead jammer. And she just got lapped. That is a grand slam for Sequin Destroyer of the Quad Squad. Splatter Alice not opting to call off that jam. But Sequin Destroyer nudged outside by number 1618. That is Golda Mean. She has got to enter behind Goldie Mean. That might just do it for the Quad Squad. 2 more points.
54 points to make up with a little over 2 minutes.
We've got a shout out for Pepper. Pepper, Meg left flyers for you at merch. Pepper, Meg left flyers for you at the merch. Very racy shout out.
I know nothing. I'm very tolerant. Anyway, this may or may not be the last jam of the game. We've got 1884, Roxy Moxie in the green and the silver, the Quad Squad, who lead by 54. She's going up against Magic Missile D4. Rollin 20s for the Unholy Rollers. Magic Missile is, in fact, your lead jammer. Clearly, with a 54-point deficit, Unholy Rollers cannot afford to trade points with the Quad Squad right now. Magic Missile out and through after, I believe, scoring 4, but Quad Squad scored 3. Got another timeout for the Unholy Rollers, just under a minute and a half. The lead is going to be 57 in favor of the Quad Squad.
And I have another shout out. Remember, the shout out box is over on the merch table. All donations go 100% to the Wisconsin Innocence Project. Mama and Papa Mouse are the best. You are loved by Mouse.
All right, looks like a 53-point lead. 254 to 201 is our score. 134 is our remaining time. I don't want to say it's impossible to come back from a 53-point deficit with a minute 34 to go, but I'm hard-pressed to think of a valid way you could do that, other than some sort of Superman 1 thing where he spins the earth backwards and things of that nature.
Another one of our sponsors, everybody knows, the Wisco, Willie Street Pub and Grill and Good Times Emporium. Call it what you like, it's the Wisco and the birthplace of roller derby in Madison. I know it's great because I met my boyfriend there.
A ringing endorsement.
That's right.
On the jammer line for the first time tonight, 18 foot worth of alligator in the green and the silver and the tail for the Quad Squad. She is going up against number bit. That is a fandangled for the Unholy Rollers.
And the milestones keep on coming. On that last jam, that was Twisted. That was Hazen Contused. Scored 69 points this bout for a Mad Rollin' Dolls career of 400 points.
She kind of scored Little Miss Behaven's jersey number. That's kind of weird. Anyway, lead jammer does go to the Unholy Rollers, courtesy of Fang Dangled. She has got a lot of work to do to prevent this one from falling into the clutches of the Quad Squad. Unholy Rollers trail by 53. Hello Sailor's taking a seat in the penalty box. She may just ride this game out into the sunset from that disadvantageous position. 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. And we got a track cut on Alligator. That's going to be a power jam for the Unholy Rollers. They have the faintest spark of life or unlife or whatever it is the Unholy Rollers have as a life analog.
Fandangled is a rookie this year, and she's been having a really great time jamming. It's amazing to see her get so many points her first season out. I think it's those long legs. She just steps over people.
It's always worked those things at the beginning of Johnny Quest. We got an out-of-play penalty on Little Misbehavin' 69. Penalty box filling up for the Quad Squad. Grand slam for the Unholy Rollers. Do they have enough time to pull off what would be a miraculous Lenten comeback?
Anything's possible.
Remember, the jam clock supersedes the period clock, so even though we're down to 15 seconds, we have 40 left to play.
Real nice delaying tactics by Hasink and 297. Unholy Rollers are going to call it off with just a smattering of seconds left on the clock. If the clock gets down to under 30 seconds, we do not start a new jam unless someone specifically calls a timeout. That is why you usually save one last timeout for just these circumstances. Unholy Rollers call it. They are going to have one jam's worth of time to score 42 points to tie it. And it was just Douglas Adams, author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's 61st birthday on Monday, so I guess that's appropriate.
Well, and as we can see, as this game has gone back and forth, the lead has switched from team to team. Anything could happen.
I've been assured this is the last milestone. Twisted Halo, number 13 for the Unholy Rollers. This is your 300th jam with the Mad Rollin' Dolls.
That is amazing.
I have never seen a 42-point jam in my life.
Well, maybe you're about to see one.
But I think someone has actually scored over 40. So I think it breaks the score sheets for the statisticians if it goes over 40. So, if the Unholy Rollers come back and win this game, it's going to be the most awesome and notable game in the history of roller derby. So what the heck? You might as well make noise now. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, the Unholy Rollers do have a chance since the Quad Squad
Twisted
jammer
Halo
was in the
is your
box, and
lead
now
jammer.
she's out. So Twisted Halo's got to rock that running. But Allie is burning rubber. Look at her go.
Oh my goodness. Somebody's going somewhere for that. Everybody knocking everybody around. 4 points for Unholy Rollers.
As the Quad Squad penalty box continues to fill up.
Things are going to go till the jam clock winds down. I am pretty sure that if you are not rocketing around scoring points with lightning-like precision, you're not going to make up a 42-point deficit. But what the heck? You might as well make noise anyway.
If you make noise when you go home, the neighbors will complain, so make it now.
Alligator heading back to the penalty box.
Giving Twisted Halo a power jam situation with 50 seconds to go in this first bout. Unholy Rollers fans, make some noise!
And 57-23 is our score. Now it is a grand slam for the Unholy Rollers. They are cutting that lead to 29 points.
Well, the Quad Squad is certainly not making it easy on her. They are blocking and hitting her like crazy. She's going to have to earn every single point.
And Quad Squad able to slow down the scoring. That is all they really need to do. 5 more points. That's a grand slam for the Unholy Rollers, but it is going to be too little too late. Quad Squad hold on in a surprisingly thrilling game. They're going to win by...
What an amazing bout. Back and forth. We didn't know what was going to happen.
All right, folks, if you want to come down and give some high fives, get some roller derby girl germs on you, now's the time.
I have a very important shout out for Sequin Destroy Her. Sequin, the last 6 years together have been incredible. I would be honored to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? With so much love, James.
Yeah, I think he's over there holding up a little sign.
I can't help but notice a gentleman holding up a sign that says, Sequin, will you?
I think she'll see it shortly.
I think it says marry.
It's going to be a heck of a high five, I'll tell you that.
I think he's going to get more than a high five. I think that's a yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big hug. I think she is very happy about that sign. Oh, he's going down on the knees. Got a ring. Sequin, you better put a ring on it.
And the crowd goes wild.